Morning, Commissioners. Chris Bowles with Hillsborough County Firefighters. How are y'all? I come before you to offer some reflection, some recognition, and to make an appeal. Saturday next week will mark the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attack on our country. Some of us were remembering the 2,977 people that were killed that day. 71 of those were police officers. 343 were firefighters. I'm reminded of this every time I walk into my office. I have a piece of the steel from the Trade Center there in my office, and that was given to me from a firefighter in New York City. You may not know this, but 2 days afterwards, I spent 2 weeks on Ground Zero, assisting with the search and rescue efforts. It's not an experience I'd like to relive, but it's certainly one that I was thankful to be there to offer some assistance. Our jobs as first responders are difficult, though. Certainly given the inherent elements of danger and uncertainty with them. 9/11 was certainly a reality check with that. And today's no different. Given the uncertainty we have with this pandemic, the hardships that people are facing, the fallout, the uncertainties that come along with it, and the volatility of all this, creates a crazy effort out there. Yet in spite of these risks, we still show up to work every day, our first responders. We do our job. We do the best we can. And we do this knowingly, because that's what we're there to do. For this, our first responders, some of them downstairs, some outside, and around this country and county, deserve that recognition. I'd also like to thank all of you, though, you that are here and virtually, for your support and mutual efforts that you've given us, public safety infrastructure, and first responders here over the last few years. You've really stepped up and made some steps forward. And you deserve that. All of you are responsible for that, and the positive steps and gains we've made with that are really important. However, there's still work to be done. Our collective focus and efforts have to still remain on the documented community needs. We know what those are. We can't let your good work slip by us as it has in the past. We've made these efforts to move forward. We need to prioritize a phased approach to implementing the master plan. We need to keep Tallahassee out of our backyards so that we can continue to look for resources here locally to fund this explosive growth we have. And we need to have meaningful collaborative discussion with external stakeholders to encourage citizen-first policies and procedures. I ask you to consider this. Please note that the Hillsborough County firefighters, the men and women, support you in your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your service. And thank you for bringing forward 9/11 in your service there. It's painful, I think, to be thinking about this, but thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Commissioners, my name is Corey Bone, and I'm here today both as a Hillsborough County firefighter and as a concerned citizen. I was born and raised here. 4 generations of my family have resided in the Brandon area. My passion has always been to serve, and that is why I became a firefighter. In July of 2020, I started my HCFR career. I spent the first month learning the skills necessary to become a successful firefighter EMT. However, I never thought that my skills would be put to the test so quickly, and on a loved one, no less. August 7th, 2020 will always be a day for me, excuse me, where I experienced both great humility and honor, but will also be one of my darkest days. This was the day I was sworn in as a Hillsborough County firefighter. My entire family was proudly in attendance at this ceremony. An hour later, as I was driving home to celebrate with my family, my sister called me to say that my father, Alan Bone, who was only 62 years old, had collapsed and wasn't breathing. Call it divine intervention if you are a faith believer like myself, but I had just turned off at the wrong exit that actually put me closer to his house than my own. I could hear my mother on the phone with 911 while I coached my sister on how to perform CPR. I arrived at his home in the Brandon area about 6 minutes after I got that call, and I was expecting to see my fellow brothers and sisters already on scene. Unfortunately, no units were there yet. I took over CPR from my sister. At the time, there were 5 stations in the area in his response area that are 5 to 10 minutes away. None of them were available, and the closest ambulance was responding from 17 minutes away, coming from Bloomingdale. There are actually six other ambulances that are stationed at those 5 closer stations than the rescue that responded. Sadly, none of them were available at the time of my father's emergency. Waiting for the rescue to arrive felt like an eternity. 30 minutes passed before my father finally had a pulse again. And 5 days later, my family had to make the gut-wrenching decision to remove my father from life support and let him go home to be with the Lord. Commissioners, our success as first responders and the patient's outcome are measured in seconds, not minutes. The crews that responded did everything right. They gave my father the best chance at life. However, they were just too far away, and they could not be in there in time to change his outcome. His heart and his brain had been without oxygen for just too long. I ask that you focus on the Fire Rescue's master plan that outlines a straightforward path to filling the existing gaps, shortening the response times, and augmenting our EMS system. I believe that if this plan had been prioritized since its inception in 2003, my father might still be alive today. He would have had the opportunity to watch me marry the love of my life, to see his future grandchildren, and live out the rest of his dreams. So please, I implore you to continue to plan for the future and focus on the master plan that maps out the life-saving services needed for our citizens that you represent, so this heartache doesn't happen to another family. Thank you.